What's going on there, guys? Welcome back to another Battle Beers episode of the Craftivore Tastes. And this is a Battle Beers episode that I was nervous to actually do. Why? Because today's Battle Beers episode is going to be triple IPAs. Yeah, man. Going for gusto. So, Battle Beers episode is going to pit triple IPA from Counterweight Brewing Company out of Hamden, Connecticut. This is Total Inundation, coming in at 9.8% ABV. Yeah, man. And Total Inundation is going to be going up against Hot Butcher for the World from Chicago, Illinois. Pretty cool name. This is Steel Cage Match, which is a triple IPA brewed with Citra and Galaxy, as well as with honey. Coming in at 10.5% ABV, man. So that's pretty cool. Pretty funny. I liked actually the can art in the triple cage match. You got a little lucha guy going on there and someone else that looks vaguely like the Ultimate Warrior. So as an old school wrestling fan, I kind of dig the can art on that one. All right, so yeah, man. As I've said before in Battle Beers, basically the whole premise of it is to take two beers that are similar in style. So in this case, both triple IPAs, pretty much 10.5% ABV for the Hot Butcher for the World, and basically 10%, it's 9.8% for the Triple Inundation from Counterweight. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the freaking battle, man. Let's pour these beers out into a glass. We'll take a look at their appearances, obviously then move on to their aromas. We will taste them both, and then we will rate them and see who reigns supreme in this Battle Beers episode of Triple IPAs. All right, let's get straight into it. Put this straight up. There we go. All right, so let's actually pour these guys out. Let's start off with the Total Inundation from Counterweight Brewing Company. And then we shall get into the Steel Cage Match from Hot Butcher. So let's see, put that all across onto the side. Now we'll get into the Steel Cage Match. Let's go ahead, try to basically pour these as close to similar as possible. Boom. Maybe perhaps a little more on the Hot Butcher. Okay. Beautiful. Set those cans off to the side, actually, right there. Let's take a look at how they look, man. So both beers coming in. Wow, that's really crazy. They look identical. Wow, so both coming in super full-on kind of New England-style haze. Both of them just are kind of this medium to medium gold kind of color. Look absolutely freaking fantastic. Both absolutely haze for days. Amazingly, they're pretty much kind of pouring almost really similar kind of heads. That's nuts. Like, literally, if you put these two beers side by side, you'd have absolutely no idea that they're two different beers. They look pretty much exactly the same. Really kind of nice, kind of like fluffy, white eggshell-like head. They both look freaking awesome, man. So from an appearance perspective, dead heat, dead tie. I mean, honestly, can't tell the difference between the two. All right, so let's go ahead and get the aroma. First, we'll start off with the Total Inundation from Counterweight. Man. Ooh. Oh, man, that smells absolutely awesome. So, getting amount of tropical fruits going on, but obviously just, due to that ABV, that sweetness is popping through right on the onset. And so what you're getting is a lot of candied kind of tropical fruits going on. So, candied pineapple, candied mango, getting a bit amount of like candied orange as well. I don't know what the hops are in this beer. Take a look. Yeah, I was going to say, so that there's the candied orange and the orange. So yeah, led by Citra. So that's interesting. Obviously, both Citra beers here. So I'm expecting kind of similar things to kind of take place in terms of the nose. But yeah, absolutely. So yeah, total pineapple, kind of mango, candied kind of orange. A little bit of citrus kind of going on, but it smells kind of super sweet and super nice. Yeah, even a little bit of kind of dankness kind of going on there as well. Perhaps maybe a little bit of spicy tone. Smells freaking awesome. Let's go ahead and get into the Steel Cage Match. And as I mentioned, Steel Cage Match is Citra and Galaxy. So going to be some familiar notes there. Interesting to kind of see. The Total Inundation, not a whole lot of booze coming off there, basically at 9.8% ABV. So let's go ahead and see what the Steel Cage Match has got. Ooh, yum. So yeah, very kind of similar in the nose, right? Huge bit amount of that kind of candied kind of orange going on. But then there's that kind of mosaic element that's kind of coming in a little bit as well, right? So a little bit of kind of berryness kind of happening there. Also a little bit of kind of dankness, spiciness kind of coming through. Oh, man, but that smells really, really good. The sweetness is not as prominent as it is in the Total Inundation, which is interesting because the ABV is higher in Steel Cage Match. But, oh, man, from like an overall balance perspective, it's kind of interesting. Neither of them have like any kind of boozy overtones coming out. But I gotta say, now kind of getting the aroma off the Steel Cage Match, if I were to just give this on aroma alone, just by a hair, Steel Cage Match, just by a hair. They are super, super, super similar. But aroma, just by a photo finish, Steel Cage Match right now. Okay? Let's get ourselves into the taste. 2 triple IPAs. I'm not going anywhere tonight. All right, so Total Inundation from Counterweight Brewing Company. This can was courtesy of my buddy Adam. So Adam, thank you, sir. Cheers. Oh, my Lord. Wow. Oh. Woo! Huge blast. Candied oranges, again, led by that Citra. There is that sweet, kind of sticky, kind of malt backbone, kind of obviously kind of following through here. Triple IPAs are tough, man. Like, you know, in a lot of different ways, they can be super overly aggressive, super kind of hot. Like, this is not. This is actually kind of super balanced and really, really nice. You get that malt backbone. You get that sweetness. Like, you do kind of... The density of it is what's leaning me towards saying I would recognize this as being a triple IPA, right? It's not as kind of... It's especially these days. It's not as drinkable as a double IPA, if that makes any sense. But, you know, obviously with the New England style these days, double IPAs drink like they're friggin' IPAs, for crying out loud. So from that perspective, like you kind of know you're dealing with a meatier beer. So going back in for another taste. That's really, really good. Obviously, it has kind of tones of even... What's interesting is that it's got kind of honeysuckle tones as well. But Steel Cage Match is actually the one where it's actually brewed with honey. So, yeah, this is kind of nuts. Like, good Battle Beers episode, man. Like, these beers, I'm expecting them... So far, they're really, really, really similar. That's really good. There is kind of a little something there on the tail end. I'm not exactly sure what that kind of is. Yeah, a little kind of perceived kind of pop of bitterness happening there, right? Like on the tail end. But nothing really kind of note, but it just does kind of hang in the palate there a little bit for you and just kind of sits. But other than that, all right, Steel Cage Match. This can is courtesy of my buddy Andrew. So, Andrew, thank you so much, sir. Cheers. Wow, interesting. Side by side, that's tough because they're melding together at the moment. They are, again, I'm beating a dead horse, but they are very, very, very similar beers. Spilling. Hammered already. So, big kind of notes follows in the taste, right? Again, similar. Huge kind of candied notes, candied kind of tropical fruits kind of going on. Oddly, if you were to ask me which beer is actually brewed with honey, I would actually tell you the Triple Inundation, not the Steel Cage Match, but we know that's obviously not the case, which is kind of super interesting. The Steel Cage Match is less intense in terms of flavor when it comes to the Triple Inundation, but I will say you don't really know. So when I drink Triple Inundation, I know I'm drinking a triple IPA, right? Or at least an extremely almost north, 8.5%, 9% double IPA if I really had to split hairs, right? Steel Cage Match at 10.5% ABV is insane because I'd have absolutely no idea that would be a plus 10% ABV beer. I would not know that is a triple IPA. It is incredibly, incredibly balanced. But go back in just for another one. Yeah, that's kind of nuts. It's incredibly balanced. It does not have a bit of that lingering bitterness that Triple Inundation does. But I will say this. Hop aromas, hop oils, hop flavors, a bit of that kind of dankness is a little bit more muted in the Steel Cage Match than it is in the Total Inundation. Canning dates on these guys, so just to be kind of fair, are relatively similar. I think the Steel Cage Match might be 3 weeks older. I'm not 100% sure. Because I have a canning date on the Steel Cage Match, but I don't on the Total Inundation. But I remember when my buddy Adam sent it to me. So I'm thinking Steel Cage Match might be 3 weeks older. Could be a little bit longer. I'm not 100% sure. So that might play a little bit into somewhat of the muted, or I shouldn't say muted, just as it compares to Total Inundation, perhaps maybe just a little bit toned down kind of taste that you would get. Obviously just the impact of the overall kind of hops is just a little bit less with the Steel Cage Match. Okay. One last sip from both, and then I'm going to give her a rating, and we're going to essentially see who wins this episode of Battle Beers Triple IPAs. That's really, really good. Wow. Okay. Rating time. Who comes out on top? So, straight up out of the gate. For triple IPAs, okay, both of these are incredible examples. I am going to say that Steel Cage Match is a 4.25 cap beer. One of the best balanced triple IPAs I think I maybe have ever had. You could fool me with this beer and have me absolutely drooling like a baby on the floor by the end of the night because I wouldn't know how much of that I wouldn't know that would be a 10.5% ABV beer, and I would just be drinking it all night long. So those are the benefits of Steel Cage Match. Total Inundation. For a triple IPA, 4.35 cap beer. When you put the both side by side being so incredibly similar, it is a tough matchup. But I'm going to say that from aroma perspective, appearance, same. Aroma perspective, Steel Cage Match has got it just a little bit. But in the overall taste and just the intensity still of those hops that is present. And when you kind of mix in just that kind of dankness, a little bit of that perfect malt kind of backbone and sweetness, I think Total Inundation is the better overall total package from a triple IPA perspective when comparing these two. All right? Notwithstanding a little bit of that kind of bitterness, kind of burn going on there that's lingering a little bit that Steel Cage Match doesn't have, but it's not enough to not take home the battle, if that makes sense. All right? So, this episode of the Battle Beers, the winner is Total Inundation, Triple IPA from Counterweight Brewing Company out of Hamden, Connecticut. That'll do it for this episode of the Craftivore Tastes. Hope you join me again for another episode where I drink, I review, I rate, and I repeat. Cheers, guys.